Hello everyone, Melanie here with CGL Recruiting, and you may have seen our video on 10 things to never do during an interview. Well, today this is the companion piece to that of 10 things to never say during an interview. Now, if you haven't subscribed yet, please take a moment to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and if you feel like this information is helpful, give us a thumbs up when it's done. All right, let's jump right in. Using offensive language, any kind of curse words during an interview is never a good idea, even if you hear the interviewer doing it. It's never appropriate and should never occur either way. And I'm going to get comments, I know, from people saying, oh, well, in my industry, it's okay, or in this. No, I'm telling you, it's not. You can have a great conversation without using any offensive language. The reason you don't want to is make sure the focus is on you, your skills and experience, not on the language that you're using. Saying negative things about others or past companies that you've worked for can really backfire on you during an interview. Now, when you're starting to have a conversation about a company that maybe your relationship with them wasn't as smooth as you would have liked it to be, try to get off the topic quickly and try to focus in on the good parts of it. If you go down a negative hole, you're going to bring the interviewer right with you, and they are going to start to question, was the company negative or is this person negative? It is best to try and stay focused on the positive aspects. Now, I know life is busy nowadays, and you may be trying to fit interviews in amidst a very busy schedule. It is not a good way to start off an interview by saying, I only have a limited amount of time to speak with you today. If you are in a situation where this is not the best time for an interview, don't schedule it for then. And there's multiple reasons for this. First and foremost, you don't want the interviewer to feel rushed. You want them to feel like they have a chance to spend a good amount of time with you to really get to know you and get attached to you as a candidate. The other thing is, if an interviewer really likes you and there's multiple steps in the process, a lot of times they'll do things like, do you have a little bit more time? There's somebody else I'd really like you to meet. Or, the owner of the company actually happens to be here today, and I'd love to have an opportunity to introduce you to them. You don't want to miss out on those opportunities. As much as you can, make yourself available for as long as the interviewers need you. Now, I know that you're busy, but so is the company and the interviewer. If you make a comment like, I'm not really looking for a job, you're going to make them feel like you're wasting their time. If you're not sure yet, if you're really interested in this company or really interested in this position, that's okay. You have the right as a person to decide which company you choose to join and which position you choose to take. But if you make those statements out loud during the process, you might as well close the door because you're making the interviewer and company feel undervalued. It's something better that's just kept to yourself. As much as possible during an interview, you do want to try and stay away from, I don't know. Part of an interview process is not only looking at your hard skills, but looking at your soft competencies. And especially in this world of behavioral-based interviewing questions, you're gonna see where they're trying to find out not only what you do, but how you do it. So if they ask you something that you're unsure of, instead of just saying, I don't know, and leaving it at that, it might be better for you to consider saying something like, that's a really interesting question. Well, let me tell you how I would relate that from here to here. Or let me tell you about something similar. Or if you really need some more information, ask them a clarifying question. Well, so you're asking me about this project. Can you give me an example where you're seeing this exact in your company so I can better relate it to one of my areas of experience? You want it to be an opportunity for you to shine your skills and experience to them, not a chance to close the conversation down with, I don't know. hopefully, before you even went in for the interview, you did research on the company. It is never appropriate to say, what does the company do? We live in an information age where you can Google and find out just about anything. You need to take the time to do research on the company before you get in there for an interview. And this is just as important for how you answer the questions that they ask you about that as it is for you for making a choice as to whether or not this is a company that you want to align yourself with. Do you feel like they are aligned with your values and their values? Do you feel like you agree with their mission? Is the company in an industry that you want to be in? Take the time to do the research, and then you'll never have to worry about not being able to answer what the company does. During the entire interview process, you need to strike a balance. At no point in time do you want to come off as arrogant or I know all of this and I'm going to come in and save the company. But neither do you want to be one that's self-deprecating and constantly knocking yourself down a peg. You need to be your own best cheerleader. Instead of saying, I'm really bad at, instead focus on what you're really great at. If you point out your weaknesses, then they're gonna see them. Focus on what you bring to the table. You will be a great addition to the company if you just explain how. Now, the job seeking process is incredibly hard. I often tell people it can be soul crushing if you let it. And so I understand if you're at a point where either financially or just you're feeling like desperate about finding your next role. I get it, I really do. But you can't let that show in an interview. You need to be focused on what the role is. If you come across as desperate, you're going to have the interviewers focused on that instead of your skills and experience. And that's where we want them to focus. You are worthy. You bring a lot to the table. Don't forget about it and be your own best cheerleader. Now, when you go in for an interview with a company, if you in the middle of a conversation start talking about a different role that you want to do, or, well, I'm only really thinking that I want to do this for a short amount of time and then I want to start my own business, or I really want to go out on my own, or I really just see this as a stepping stone, you're not going to have as great of a chance of getting that role. You want to focus on the role that you're interviewing for today. And now it's okay to have conversations in the interview process about, what is the company's policy about hiring from within? Or what do you do, in mentoring and promoting individuals? But you don't want to be making the interviewer think that you're not invested in this job and that you don't really want it. There's lots of candidates available, so don't undermine your position by being flippant about the role that they're offering. Now, in the end of the interview, there's lots of advice that you're going to be given about you need to close it to get that role. You need to push, push, push. And I do think that you want to focus more action oriented towards the end of, can you let me know what the next step is in the process? But you don't want to push too hard. And an example of one of the things that can come across too hard is, what would stop you from hiring me? Or why am I not the best person for this role during an interview? You're putting the interviewer and you like this on the spot. And chances are there's no way they can answer that question yet. The interviewing process is very rarely done with just one person. There's usually multiple people that they're interviewing at a time. And so you're asking them a question that they can't answer yet. It also can come across just too aggressive, and you don't want to be seen that way. So listen, it is okay to push for something forward, but you want to push in a soft and gentle way, not where it feels adversarial. Thanks again for spending time with me as we reviewed the top 10 things you should never say during an interview. If there are other topics you'd like us to cover, please put a comment in the section down below, and I will do my best to get a video recorded in response to it as quick as I can. Thanks again for watching.